Now, the thing about the concurrent physics course in the IB is, once again, it's crap. I don't know how the IB does it. 7 times in a row, perhaps. I mean, how many subjects do you have? Around 7? Around 7 times in a row. 7 times in a row, it creates 7 crappy subjects. I do not know how. It crams you once again with information. It crams you a lot of information, especially relating to quantum mechanics, without truly explaining why, how, or really absolutely anything. It quite frankly sometimes expects you to know how to do integration and derivatives within the first year of learning, something that you do not learn until 12th grade. So, great. Thank you, physics course. Worst thing is that the physics course a lot of time moves from classical mechanics to quantum mechanics. Just like that. Boom! We expect you to know absolutely everything, despite half the frick fracking time you don't even understand classical mechanics, because there is so much information that are thrown at you. Worse yet, they give you, in the beginning, they give you something called the SUVAT equations, and half the time, number one, you barely do most of it, right? Number one, that's second. It expects you to know how to derive every single formula out of thin air just because they expect you. The thing is that for some unknown reason, the physics course expect you to understand things despite not giving you the mathematical background to do so. I'm extremely passionate about this because we have extensive discussion with this with our physics teacher, who have left school sadly, about how crappy the physics course truly is. It gives you all these fancy maths that it expects you just to know how to derive, even though proof and deriving very complex formula comes in only the mathematics higher course. And that's AA, right? So then my question would be, okay, what if you take AA standard level? Sadly, I do not have insights into the AI course. What if you take AA standard level and now you over here on the physics course and it just expects you to know how to derive every single SUVAT equation ever? Wonderful, thank you. So then, once again, just like a bunch of other courses, perhaps we'll have some insight on biology as well. It doesn't become a course that actually requires intelligence. It is not. They want you to understand things, does not mean they actually lead you to that way. They don't lead you to the path of desired outcome, but rather they lead you down a path of, why would I take this path when there is a massive shortcut right to the right side? And that's where you go, and that shortcut exactly is ibo.org, I think it was the name. It basically has a bunch of past paper examinations for the physics course. Yes, 100%, the course could change. That is something that always comes up. However, even then, having all of these knowledge from these past papers, I will basically tell you this: you will ace most tests without needing to study a single word in the physics book. Why? Because these examinations are the actual form that they're going to take. Why learn how these SUVAT equations are derived and all of these other things when you can simply have the past papers and the examiner's scores? You know those things, you take them, you do them, and then boom, you just learned everything. And you actually learn how the IB wants you to truly put into practice the things that you have learned. So it becomes extremely helpful. But then that also comes back into the fact of how bad the course truly is. It just shows you how bad the course is. The fact that you have to just do the test half the damn time, because that's the actual only good thing you can do, right? Rather than actually sit in class and hear the teacher explain everything, just because the physics formula are extremely hard to know and derive. It's not like math, where a lot of time you have the thing sitting in front of you. You already have all the variables. Now you just need to work from there a lot of the time. Or you're trying to derive a formula with a simple circle or shape. No, the physical phenomena is massive. It's a lot bigger than that. You have so much other variables. How just throwing a single ball, you already have so much more variables than just trying to say calculate the volume of a sphere or like the formula of a volume of a sphere or something. It's already so much more complex than that. Right? You have to think about wind resistance. You have to think, oh, is the vectors going up or the side or what is it? That's another thing. A lot of the time you don't learn vectors in math, in the math course. Great! And now we have to learn about vectors in physics? How would you expect us to do that? So it expands your mathematical scope, but it does that in such a rudimentary way and quite frankly archaic way, just because it has no further processing. It's the same as telling a child just do multiplication or just do algebra. They don't know what the hell that is. And that is the physics course. It is quite bad. Right? To say the least, it's quite bad. It's quite freaking bad. But it does have one advantage. The IA is surprisingly simple. You only have to carry out an experiment and it does not have to last long. I, for one, did Saxon Bowl. You could more or less do the same. Try to search up Saxon Bowl, water clocks or something like that. You can make a sundial. Hell, you can make a freaking sundial and do something with that. Right? The experiments are extremely simple. You can use there are a lot of very beautiful looking programs that can help you, mainly Desmos, and also Google Sheets to a certain extent, right? And when you do that, a lot of the time the IA can become extremely simple. It's extremely simple. You think of something simple and you go with that, right? It will be hard for picking the question. I will not deny that one bit. However, once you carry out the experiment, it's not going to take long. It will probably take you a day to carry out the experiment. And if you can type fast, it will take you a day to write the IA. I am not joking. The physics IA is that simple, right? But everything else about the course is absolute dog crap. And my only recommendation for surviving the course is simply put, try to put in the work and do a bunch of past papers. That's it.